All right, Ulysses, we roll along in our player review series, and today we have two players to review plus trivia and name that war on a Friday Veterans Day. Busy show planned.
It is. It's going to be go, go, go. We've got a lot to get through, so let's start it right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your very first listen every day. And be sure to check us out on all podcasting platforms and subscribe to that YouTube channel of ours, Locked On Rays. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays and send us your emails, voice memos, comments, questions, concerns, hot takes, lockedonrays@gmail.com. All right. Fitting two player reviews in one episode plus trivia and name that war. We better get on it. And let's go ahead and go to G-Man Choi, the good, the bad, his future with the team and grade. Ulises G-Man Choi.
Let's start with the numbers. G-Man Choi slash line 223, 341, 388. That's a 729 OPS. He had 11 bombs, 52 RBIs, a 13.8 walk rate, a 29.4 strikeout rate. Not so good there. 115 WRC plus. He was graded at 1.3 F WAR. And BSR, which we focused in a lot of players, in negative 2.7. Yet another guy who's rated poorly in BSR. I think one of the biggest things with G-Man is the eye still there. That on base at 341 is still good. I like the 11 bombs in a year where not a lot of race players could go over the fence. He was still able to give you double digits, even if it was just 11. He still did it, man. Not a lot of other guys could say that. I think he was rated fourth in the team. Am I correct on that? Because Randy, Isak, or maybe he's third? Yeah, he was third.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, he might be third on the team.
Holy crap.
That is insane.
With 11. That's sad.
It's sad in multiple ways. I got to say this about G-Man Choi. The walk rate, solid. Of course, he actually rated pretty solid and outs above average. I mean, if we're going to a defensive point of view of things. But, when I think about G-Man Choi and what he did for this year, nothing spectacular, but about what you would expect. When you look at his career on the whole since he broke into the big leagues, I mean, what could we have really expected from a G-Man Choi season? We weren't going to expect him to play 150 games and hit 25 bombs. 113 games, 22 doubles, 11 home runs. The on-base percentage was there. That he kind of served up par G-Man Choi, if you will, not to mention the good vibe and energy that he brings. Again, I don't have a ton of positives to say about G-Man Choi. I think that I've been saying this there's going to be a day where he's no longer on the Rays. I think we'll get to that. I think that's coming this off season, but there were other guys that didn't play as many games or post like he posted. So kudos to G-Man Choi for getting to triple-digit games and providing a little bit of pop and at least, adding to the offense instead of subtracting from it. So that's what I got.
I do have one more positive, which is the splits. In last year, he was basically unplayable against lefties. I mean, the numbers were atrocious. But this year, the slash line against lefties was 294, 351, 373. So, again, not a lot of power. In fact, 0 home runs against lefties. But the on-base and the batting average definitely did have a little bit of increase, which was nice to see. but again, all power against righties. So he did barrel the ball, again, 84th percentile. He does hit the ball hard. Hard hit percentage at 88th percentile. The exit velo as well in the 93rd percentile. So the peripherals are there that he still does have some juice in there. But let's get to the very obvious negative, which was if I think that he was unplayable against lefties last year, he was unplayable after the All-Star break.
Right.
Just completely a ghost of Ji-Man Choi. I mean, the let's just talk about the slash line pre and post. Pre-All-Star game, 278 batting average. Post, 164. 385 on base, went down to 272. Slugging, 449, 293. 834 OPS turned into a 565 OPS. That's unplayable. That's unplayable. And it's so difficult for Kevin Cash to not play a guy who he knows is a veteran and been there, done that. Kevin Cash does give a longer leash to those certain guys that have been with the team for a while, and he knows that he can count on them. But even with Ji-Man Choi, he had to stop.
Yeah.
Because it was just so bad. It was so bad, Kevin.
Oh, yeah. I mean, his numbers second half, it would make National League pitchers vomit. Like, National League pitchers being like, I could do that. I could put up those kinds of numbers, those splits. Like, throw me out there with a bat in my hand. And again, all told, I just think not enough production for what he's being paid, and certainly not enough production from a first baseman or a so-called righty masher when we look at everything in the aggregate. So that brings, I mean, you pointed out, what was so bad about Ji-Man Choi, and just, over time, we've seen his power dip while his strikeouts have increased. Now
almost 30%, almost 30% K rate, Kevin. That's and if you're gonna give me 30% K rate, give me the bombs, right? I mean, remember when people were like, "Oh, Carlos Pena strikes out a bunch," which, by the way, that was me. I'll say that. Carlos Pena had a 25% K rate career. 25%. He was still giving you like 30 bombs at the end of his career. You're giving me 11 bombs and striking out at a 30% rate, and you're going to become the highest paid ARB eligible guy this year with the Rays?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No.
Yeah. And that brings it to his future. He's projected to make $4.5 million this season in arbitration. The Rays aren't going to pay him that. They can't pay him that. And it'd be one thing you can stomach that strikeout rate if, in those 113 games, if he gave you 20 home runs, sure, but 11, certainly not enough. So Choi, I am as confident as the day is long that he will not be in a Rays uniform in 2023. Do I think that he'll land somewhere else stateside? Sure, I could see a team like, the Royals, Matt Quatraro's Royals, or, a Pirates, a team that needs some pep in their step, bringing in Ji-Man Choi. But I think after all this time, he's done a lot for this organization, done a lot for this fan base, certainly will be missed, but I just do not see a scenario or a situation where he's brought back in 2023 to the Rays.
I think this is it for Ji-Man Choi, and I don't care about, the shift might help him. The shift is a wash, man. It's going to help everybody. It's going to help every lefty.
Yeah.
So I am not buying that. I mean, it's and I said highest paid. Okay, so Yandy Diaz is going to be high. The highest paid guy So maybe second, third? You can't do that. I'm sorry. I think this is the end for Ji-Man Choi, and he's been a fan favorite, and that's great. And I want to highlight the fact that he does do a lot of really good donations and help around the community with a lot of different groups. And this guy's basically giving out money to charities every other day. And that's fantastic in Korea and in the US. Good. For the money and for the value, it just doesn't make sense for the Rays. It might make sense for another team, but for the 2023 Rays, it just doesn't.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And again, we can talk about all the off the field stuff. Same thing with Brett Phillips too. But at some point, you got to produce. Business. And this is a team that needs production offensively. And I don't think Choi brings enough value with what he's projected with that salary. Grade for Ji-Man Choi. I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. C. 73. 74, I guess. I won't give him a C minus, but the lowest C possible before you get to a C minus. That's G-Man.
I have to agree. It's 73.5, 73. Yeah. You can't just dip out that way for 2.5 months of the season. You dipped out. You said, "Oh, I'm out, Teach," and you're like, "No, dude, it's quarter 2. You still have like half of the year left." And he's like, "No, I'm good." Yeah. No. I'm sorry.
Senioritis kicked in July.
Yeah.
Kicked in way too soon for Ji-Man Choi. All right, we'll review the play of Isaac Paredes, another one of the boppers for the Rays. Man, it's crazy that the Ji-Man Choi and Isaac Paredes, who would have thought they'd be, way up there in terms of home run leaders for the Rays this season, but that's what it was. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. You can get the latest odds and trends for every single professional and amateur league out there. We're talking football, basketball, soccer, and esports. They are the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. So head over to BetOnline today or use that mobile device of yours to learn more. BetOnline, it is where the game starts. All right, Isaac Paredes, the good, the bad, his future, and his grade. Let me just say this about Isaac Paredes. I think he kind of exceeded my expectations as to immediately after that trade between him or with him and the Tigers and Austin Meadows was made. I'll just put that out there.
Yeah, I think exceeded expectations should be the majority of how Rays fans feel. If somebody was like, "No way, I expected way more out of him," then all right, well, life must suck for you. His slash line is 205, 304, 435. That's pretty neat. 740 OPS, essentially. 20 home runs, co-lead in that category with Randy Arozarena. 45 RBIs, 11.5% on that walk rate. Love that. And the K rate, it's not so far away, folks. 17.6%. That's pretty impressive. I like that from a young guy. He's 23 years old, by the way. Let's remember that. He's 23. WRC plus at 116, F4 at 2.4. The negatives on the BSR, again, yet another race player that has a negative BSR, negative 0.7. Not a lot of success with the barrel. He's at 30 in this 36th percentile in barrel percentage. Not a lot of success in the hard hit percentage, 43rd, which might explain his very, very low BABIP of 195. 195. So overall, I think the good with Isaac is the power. He definitely has pop. This guy hit 20 in how many games do you have? How many games he played, Kevin?
I do not have that off the top of my head.
Sorry to put you on the spot there. Let me check it out real quick here. He played in 111 games.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. I mean, this guy as an everydayer. By the way, 111. That could just be like a pinch hit appearance, people. So this guy has 30 homer pop. easy 35. Like that's kind of the pop. So that's pretty impressive. And again, 23 years old. I have to really stress that 23 years old. So people need to kind of understand that's a very young guy getting his first big taste of the major league. So yeah, when you look at the splits against righties, boy, they're awful. 196, 297, 404. That's a slash line. That's a 701 OPS. Not very good. He does destroy lefties to an 840 OPS, which is pretty nice. But overall, I think he had a fine first season with the Rays. You do hope for some improvement, especially with the contact, putting a little bit more hits there. But overall, I think defensively speaking, I think he impressed. At least he impressed me. And he impressed Savant. He's rated in the 95th percentile in outs above average. That's pretty great.
Yeah, no, he provided versatility, which is not an easy thing to do many times for a young player, even an experienced veteran. And he has some Yandy-like qualities in drawing walks and not striking out and not chasing. And I guess has more pop than Yandy at this point in time. Surprising pop because that's something he never really showed or exhibited in the minor leagues. Now, I will note this is more pull side, pull heavy pop. He hasn't really shown it straight away or the other way. And that could be an issue going forward as to how pitchers attack him and say, hey, I'm not going to throw him anything in his wheelhouse or inside that he can turn and burn on. We're just going to keep it away, breaking balls away, whatever it may be. So that might be something that he has to learn and adjust is, can he consistently punch the ball the other way? Not necessarily for power for a home run, but just for a base hit, like so many other quality hitters are able to do. So that's the good. The bad, he hit just 186 in the second half. We mentioned the BABIP. Topped or got underneath too many balls, just not enough consistent quality contact, or I should say he did not make enough quality contact consistently, maybe is the way to put that. So that's going to be something that I will be interested to see how he handles and maneuvers going forward, especially as, like I alluded to, pitchers kind of having a little bit of a book and a repertoire on him now. And, he gets into a little bit of hot and cold streaks as well. As far at least this first, season prove for him.
And going back to maybe another negative, the splits have to get better. You can't pigeonhole yourself at 23 years old to just being a guy who can only hit lefties. You got to get yourself a little bit better against the righties. And you have the opportunity there to really become more than a role player with the Rays. If you're versatile as you are, playing third, playing second, playing first, and you're pretty great again, at least with outs above average, then you have a really good chance to become an important player with the Rays. So that's why you have to improve against righties. That line of 196, 297, and 404, it's just not going to make you see more than 300 at bats. And I know we had a mailbag in the past about how his role could change. You hit on one of them is, you got to be a little bit more, better at not just being a pull hitter. You got to go the other way so you don't become, oh, okay, well, why am I going to pitch you inside?
Yeah.
The other thing would be, well, we're just going to bring in that righty reliever, and so you're just not going to be facing, because you're going to get pulled from the game. I mean, he got pulled for Taylor Walls for bleep's sake in the playoffs, and for a bunt attempt that was never, not even a bunt attempt times two. So that, I think, is going to be his homework, is to kind of, be a little bit better against righties. Hopefully, keep growing that power and be a little bit more consistent. Like you said, the dips and highs of the season, they have to be a little bit more stable. But overall, again, he's 23. There's room to grow.
So future with the team, still pre-ARB. I understand. Is he on the Rays roster in 2023?
I think so. I think when you are a team that scored 200 runs less than the year prior, and this guy is the one that co-led the team in home runs in 111 games as a role bit player, don't get rid of offense. Do not get rid of offense. Where are you getting it from? Unless you have a stash of $100 million that you're going to throw at somebody, fine. Get rid of Yandy, Randy, and Isak. Sure. But that's not happening. So you got to keep the guys that can give you some offensive production. Yandy, Randy, and Isak are definitely those guys. So Isak Paredes should be on the team next year.
Power is a premium. And that's really what I have to say about that. It's not like the Rays have the luxury of just plugging and playing even a 20 homer guy or a 15 homer guy. So I think that at least to start the season, and maybe if Jonathan Aranda is really kicking it off and Curtis Mead is blowing the doors down and Vidal Brujan and Xavier Edwards are blowing the doors down, something tells me that, again, not every single one of those guys is going to work out or pan out. Then maybe you have to make a move on Isak Paredes, but I think at this point in time, you gotta keep him on the roster because of that power and because of that versatility and because he has some reps under his belt now, more reps than those aforementioned guys too. As far as grade goes, what are you giving Isak Paredes?
This was a difficult one for me because the negatives are very, very obvious. But how can you just grade a guy when he co-led the team in home runs? Like, that's a big category. This is a big category.
For basically not a rookie, but basically 23 years old, who entered the year with the Rays with less than 60 games and less than 200 at bats under his belt.
Started in AAA for bleep's sake, man. So I'm going to go with an 84.
I'll give him an 85. I mean, B-Ref gave him a 2.4 WAR. So, and doing that in 111 games, solid B, I think is the marker for him. Definitely a higher grade than G-Man Choi. No doubt about that.
100%
whatsoever. So, all right, that is the player reviews of G-Man Choi and Isak Paredes. We'll move along with those next week. But before we end the program here, we have baseball trivia and Name That War. Ulises, my baseball trivia question. I did have to put a little World Series flair on it, and the Astros won the whole darn thing, so I guess I've got a trivia question about them. In front of me, I have their top 10 career RBI men. I need 5 of those top 10 names in Astros history, Astros lore. 5 of the top 10 RBI men in Astros franchise history.
Lance Berkman.
He is number 3 on this list with 1,090.
Craig Biggio.
Craig Biggio, number 2 on this list with 1,175.
Jose Altuve.
Very good guess, and you are correct. Number 8 on this list with 696.
Bagman?
I don't know a Bagman.
Bagman? Am I pronouncing it incorrectly?
I can't believe you're butchering this guy's last name.
Bagman.
This guy's like a borderline Hall of Famer.
Bagman? Am I butchering? Bagman. I'm blanking. But you know who I'm talking about.
Cal Rapkin. Cal Ripken. Yeah, I don't know if I should give you partial credit for this. I'll give you his first name, Jeff.
Give me the first name and I will get it
Jeff.
right.
He had a goatee.
Jeff.
Not a borderline Hall of Famer. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I'm butchering his last name. Backman.
Hell, I'll give it to you. Don't forget I gave this one to you. Jeff Bagwell.
Oh, Bagwell.
MVP, Gold Glove, 80 career WAR. Oh my goodness. Okay, so he's number one on this list with 1,529. Bagman.
Thank you.
That sounds like a Seinfeld character.
I know it did. I
Bagman.
totally went curb on that.
Yeah.
Bagman.
So you've got Bagwell, BGO, Berkman, and Altuve. I need one more name.
B's. Did you see any of these guys play?
Yes. Maybe not like incredibly notable, but you did see at least one of these guys play.
All right. Did Beltran play a lot for them? No, he didn't. Maybe he did. Okay.
Let me rephrase this. You've definitely seen one of these guys play.
One of these guys. Okay, and I've gotten 4.
And he's last on this list. And he, like Jeff Bagman, used to sport a little goatee action. But he probably will not. No, he definitely will not make the Hall of Fame, not just because he doesn't have the numbers for it, but maybe also because of some illicit
injections.
Substances. Well, yeah. Oh, wow, he's dead.
Oh. Well, that took a plot. That's a plot twist. So he's in a bag, man. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's a poor taste. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. Let's go with Luke Scott.
Strike one.
Let's go with Carlos Correa.
Strike two. I thought you was, but
Carlos Lee.
That is somebody I would guess, and that is incorrect. Although he's got to be very close on this list. He's probably like number 11, if I had to guess. But this guy, may he rest in peace, Ken Caminiti.
He's dead?
Yeah, he died in 2004 from cocaine and heroin overdose. Crazy.
What?
I had no idea. Yeah.
I had no idea. We always bring Ken Caminiti into the podcast.
I know. Maybe because I don't know.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
2004. But yeah, so that's the name that I thought you might have had a chance of guessing at. These other guys, not really. Jose Cruz, Bob Watson, Cesar Cedeno, Jim Wynn, and Doug Rader. So that's the list. Top 10 RBI men, a.k.a. Bagman. Jeff Bagman. Oh, that'll never.
Bergman got me. Oh, man.
Bergman,
wow.
Bagman.
Ken Caminiti. Damn.
Yeah. So.
Wow. All right. Damn. Okay. Well, let's bring it up a little bit, people, with the mood here. And guess what? We were on the same wavelength. Because for Name That War, I have also an Astros player. Look at that. Bang that trash can. This player debuted in 1993. And you did see him play mostly with the Houston Astros. His name is Brad Ausmus. What is his career Baseball Reference WAR?
Oh, it's tough because he was a catcher. also manager.
Oh.
I would have to say he probably made like at least 2 All-Star appearances. I don't think he ever put up like incredible numbers, certainly not in the realm of Mike Piazza or Ivan Rodriguez, and maybe not even Jason Kindle. Might have had a little bit more pop than Kindle. I don't know. I'm going to say that he played dozen years plus in the league and compiled. I'm sure there's some defense involved here. Compiled a WAR between 15 to 20. I'll give him 18 career WAR.
Not bad, Mr. Weiss. Brad Ausmus has a career Baseball Reference WAR of 16.5. He was a one-time All-Star, a three-time Gold Glover. He had a career 251 batting average, 325 on base, 344 slug. That's a 669, very nice OPS with an OPS plus of 75, 80 career home runs. But look at that All-Star game, All-Star year from 1999 with the Detroit Tigers. 275 batting average, 365 on base, 415 slug, a 779 OPS, a 100 on the nose OPS plus, 9 home runs in 127 games, 126 hits. Pretty cool for him. And back-to-back Gold Gloves in 2001 and 2002, and then later in his career in 06 with the Astros as well. So that is Brad Ausmus's career. A lot of people would like to play in the major leagues for 18 years like he did.
Yeah, he almost earned like double pensions there.
I mean, imagine, like, my goodness, that's 18 years in the big leagues. Like, you have to do something very, very well. Career earnings of $36 million.
Although if you play 18 years, I feel like, okay, at least let me get to 100 home runs in my career. He didn't even reach that.
I know.
So,
I know.
yeah.
That's a shame.
Also, he's got a great set of teeth on him. Some nice chompers there. All right. So from Brad Ausmus to Jeff Bagman, we covered.
It was
the game
Berkman that got me. It was the brain played games there. God, Jeff you brought Bagman. Me with the Ken Caminiti thing.
Lance Bagman. Yeah.
That would have been funny. Great. That would have been.
There we go. All right. Thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your very first listen every day. Now make your second listen, the Locked On Sports Today podcast. Hope you all have a wonderful Veterans Day and weekend, and we will talk to you next week.